Everybody, this is Michael. Welcome back to Money with Michael. If you find the information in this channel interesting or if it helps you out, please subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps everything out. And today we're going to talk about how strong is your edge. You may have some strategies that have an edge, but how strong is it? How robust is it? It's hard enough to find an edge, but will it last? Will it actually make you money real time? And the first thing you need to realize is that all edges are not created equally. An edge is a statistically exploitable process where you can trade an instrument with a positive expected value over a statistically significant amount of time in trades. Now, how do you develop this piece over there? You need to have at least 500 trades on there. And in addition to that, most folks are going to use somewhere between 5 or 10, 20 years of data. Some will go all the way back to when the instrument was created. No strategy, even one with an edge, is going to be exploitable in all markets or market conditions. Market regimes and things change. There could be black swan events, a long-term trend, and things could stop. When these regimes change, sometimes edges do not apply. And how are you going to know that's going to happen? Well, that depends on your data testing. Markets are going to change constantly. And edges do degrade over time. Things that used to work in the 70s, you think that doesn't work anymore. Back in the 70s, you could just go long above a 200 moving day average or a 20 moving day average and go short below, and you could make money. As we all know, especially if you've done any kind of algo trading lately or any kind of discretionary trading, those approaches in and of themselves no longer work. Now, most traders, if they're going to test an edge, if they're going to find out there's an edge, they're going to go and just do a single walk forward analysis, okay? They're going to get a trading idea. They're going to code it up. They're going to say, does this have any kind of edge? And most of the time, the way they're going to do that is a combination of back testing it first, and then they're going to do a walk forward analysis. And as you see with my process, I build a model. I don't go looking for ideas all in books and things. The books may give me ideas of what to add to a model. But I build a model, whether it's for breakouts, whether it's for gaps, whether it's for mean reversion. And then I use a genetic algorithm to tell me what ideas, what things and combinations of things that could fit the model might have an edge. Then I run a walk forward analysis, and that tells me if there is an edge. Most traders are going to do it unanchored. I recommend you definitely do it unanchored. Anchored walk forwards, they just aren't as statistically significant to me because it is a diminishing amount of out of sample. Most people are going to choose to use between 20% and 50% of their out of sample data. So if you use 10 years, maybe use 2 years out of sample or 5. And that could, think about if you do 1 year optimization, 1 year out of sample and keep walking forward, that's a 50% out of sample on a 10-year set of data. But there's all different kinds of combinations you can use on that sample to do it. And most people stop there. And you know what? You could probably make money that way. You probably could. It'll be more difficult to know how long it'll take for your edge to deteriorate. It requires more monitoring. But you've proven there's an edge. You had an idea. And when you go through that walk forward analysis and you compare it to your net profit drawdown, everything else, and you look at it, you know that that strategy has an edge that does survive out of sample data, but you don't know how good that edge is, how robust it is, how long it might last. You can't draw any kind of conclusions on when should I stop this strategy really. I mean, you see what that drawdown piece is. You can do some Monte Carlo and stuff, but it's not as good. It's not statistically significant. You haven't done enough testing, in my opinion. And that's where cluster analysis comes in. I use cluster analysis for this purpose, a mixture of that with Monte Carlo and some other things. Now, what is cluster analysis? Those of you who do a lot of optimization are probably familiar with nearest neighbor analysis. So that, let's say you've got a Bollinger Band strategy. And it did really good if you set the bands to 2.5 standard deviations. Well, if that also works on 2.3 standard deviations or on 3 itself, well, those are the nearest neighbors potentially. It's more robust if it'll work there and those other parts. If your strategy is only works with one really defined set of maybe 3.1 or 2.125 standard deviations, and doesn't really fit your criteria otherwise, then that strategy is less robust. That strategy might not stand up to time. And even with that walk forward analysis, there could still be an element of curve fitting. It just won't be enough curve fitting to destroy an edge. It won't make the edge illusory, but there still might be a curve fit element to it. Now, cluster analysis is basically a much more robust walk forward. So if we did 50% by saying I'm going to optimize 1 year of data and use 1 year out of sample and go like that money-anchored walk forward, that's one. But I should probably come back and say, okay, I'll use 1.5 years, 180 days, and 180 days. I'll use 2 months out of sample and 10 months in sample and walk forward and things like that. Do those over and over again and see how many of those walk forward combinations will actually pass my criteria and show that the edge can still work. What if you did this for 25, 30 kind of combinations? The more you can pass, the more robust that edge is going to be. And I'll show you some examples of this with a potential strategy that looks really well. Now, cluster analysis is really going to be platform dependent because you can do it manually, but it becomes a pain. TradeStation and multi-charts have it built in, so their optimizer can actually do this just fine. NT, MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5, you can do it, but it's a manual process. You'll have to run multiple. You'll on the walk forward analyzer, you'll do 365, you'll run it, you'll save the data, then you'll manually go in, you'll say, okay, now I'm going to do it with 180 and 180. You'll do each one of those until you're done with your cluster. And then you can compare and see how many of the walk forwards actually worked. You can also code this in Python or R, other languages. I don't know if QuantTower or some of those tools can do it, but it's able to be coded. I've messed with Python. I've done NT, MT4, and I've done TradeStation. Now, this is what you get in TradeStation when you get an actual walk forward. You can set your criteria even to say what it passes. NinjaTrader and things like that, it shows you the results, and you have to manually look to see if it passes. I'll give you an example on this one. This was a 30-minute NQ strategy. It's profitable over the walk forward. Look right by the walk forward analysis results. There are 6 runs, so we broke it up into 6 different chunks. If you have 10 years of data and you do 1 year in, 1 year out, you're going to have essentially 5 runs because 5 are in sample, 5 are out. Well, I took the 10 years and I told it, give me 6 runs and hold back 16% of the data is out of sample, and let's see what it works. Now, it passed. It's got greater than 0 profit. The walk forward efficiency is 100% or greater. That's phenomenal. There's definitely an edge here. And consistency of profits, there's no more than 2 runs that don't have profit. And it could be 100% that all of them have profit, but only 2 of those 6. It may not be 2. I'm not do math in public. 80% of those 6 runs ended up being profitable. And I don't really do any of the other parts for max drawdown and things like that. I don't trust TradeStation and things to do that because I'm going to do some Monte Carlo analysis to determine what some of these other criteria are. And so overall, this passes, and it's a phenomenal looking candidate. And, I also kind of take a peek sometimes at these. This isn't what the total walk forward equity curve looks like, but this is what the out of sample portion looks like. And, as a part, the out of sample period of the 16% had about 840 trades in it. So this thing probably trades a lot. And it was flat for a little bit, then it went up, and it looks like it's nice once it goes up. I kind of like that. I kind of dig it. This is the results for the out of sample. And as you can see for the out of sample, only run 4 had a negative net profit. So just in 16% of this, it earned $56.9 thousand. And its drawdown at the largest point was 10.84%. 10,000. So that's about a 1 to 5, almost a 1 to 6 ratio. That's not bad. The walk forward efficiency, 109%. This thing's got an edge. Measurable, statistical, it's there. It's an edge you can probably rely on. We just don't know how long you could rely on it. Now, this is what the entire walk forward looks like. Out of sample and in sample combined, 84.6 thousand in profit. Not bad. 18,000 drawdown. So we're sitting right around that 1 to 4 to 1 to 6 net profit to drawdown. That is great. You know, a lot of folks are happy with 1 to 2. 1 to 4, 1 to 5 is really good. If you can get 1 to 8, 1 to 10, that's phenomenal. I typically won't trade anything that is worse than 1 to 6. They're hard to find, but you know, if you have this process running, and especially if you automate this kind of thing, have it just run this over and over, you won't care. You'll be really picky about strategies because you'll never run out of them, because your model will kick out strategies and edges all the time. It's just which one's good enough for you. Maybe you're fine with 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, but you can get real picky if you want. This is what the cluster analysis looks like. So take a look at this. So at the top, it shows you how many runs the 10 years was broken up into. I've got it from 6 all the way up to 14. And the out of sample percentages on the left-hand axis, I've got it from 16 to 24. Now, it had an edge. You can't say it doesn't because it passed at least one of these. But how good is that edge? Look at all the different fails. Out of 25 walk forwards, only 3 passed. That tells me it's got an edge, but it might not be as robust as I'd like. Heck, maybe it's a little bit curve fit because there's degrees of curve fitting, but I don't know if this will last long. If I'm going to run this strategy, I should monitor it, and if it starts to get into significant drawdown, be prepared to stop this strategy. Now, this right here is what a good one looks like. This is a mini Dow Jones strategy on the 15-minute. And if you take a look here, look how many of these passed. Only 5 of them failed. So 20 out of 25 walk forward cuts actually passed, and shows that this has not only an edge, but it's an edge that can survive different permutations of the time and combination of the data and different optimization periods. This is an edge that I can believe in. This is an edge that I can follow. I will trade. And this is an edge that I have no problem waiting until the Monte Carlo max drawdown before I want to turn it off, because it has a statistical likelihood of coming back. And heck, if this thing gets a new low drawdown, I turn it off, I have no problem turning it back on once it runs back up and starts like it's going for a new equity high, because look at that. No matter how many times that in different ways I can cut up the data, it's probably going to pass. It's going to have an edge that's there. There are only a few where there's not an edge. And that's how you know if you've got an edge that's robust. To me, that's how you know if you've got a strategy, an algo strategy that's going to last you for years and you can keep it around for a long time. Your reoptimization schedule will be great. I would have no problem keep reoptimizing it. And this is really how you have better equity curves in your portfolio. The better your strategies are in your portfolio, the better, and they're the stronger like this. You could run these strategies by themselves, but imagine if you mix them in a portfolio. The confidence you're going to have and the sustainability of your business. So let me know what you think. Drop a comment, give a like, subscribe. I'll continue doing this, and we'll get more into my process, and maybe we'll even talk about some strategies that I would trade, or maybe some portfolios and things in the future.